Hello, everybody. My name is Benny Rahmanov, CEO of Ishook and head of Aisha Comics with Rael and Ben Blankenship. We are here, BL Blankenship. We are here today with our great new guests. We're going to start first with Mr. John William Asachuk or Asachuk. Am I saying it right?
Asachuk.
Asachuk. How are you, sir? How
I'm
you
great.
feeling? And we want to promote a few of his links here. So we have over here his YouTube channel. Everybody can QR code this YouTube channel and join as well. And of course, you have his Instagram. Please show us and find us in his Instagram. So you can QR code this Instagram as well.
I
At the
think that
same
these are
time, we
YouTube
have
things that we're mixing.
one second. I asked, let me finish the intro. At the same time, Vaughn Coleman. We are here today with Vaughn Coleman. Here's his YouTube channel as well and Vaughn Coleman's website, right? Ooh, wow, 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 wow. I messed up. See, that's what happens. Oh, no, no, I did not. I forgot. Here's Rebel Oasis, QR code Rebel Oasis and his website, and they're available for purchase in digital. His comics are available now. And our good co host, Mr. Ben BL Blankenship. This is his ex. Please join us on his ex. Please follow us. We are doing great work with the comic industry and at iShook as well. And within our own comic, the Super Black Comic, which is available right now on Amazon, print on demand, and future specialty prints are coming very soon. So, with all ado, we are here today with our great guests, and I'll hand it off to Ben for opening. Go ahead, Ben.
I was just excited. I see that Eric Esquivel has went ahead and he is fired up about this. We're getting comments over there to the side. I thought, is that YouTube? It's on something. It's on some platform that
Well,
we're on, probably LinkedIn. But
probably.
yeah,
Well, we are on multiple
yes,
live
we're
platforms. We're trying
we're
to
all
get
over.
this consistent. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook. We're on Twitch. We're on X. We are on TikTok. We are literally live YouTube as well on iShook TV, which is Aisha Co handle. We're literally on multiple what's it called channels at the same time. I apologize to the public that my ability and coherency is a little bit off due to the weather and due to being over fever for over a week. But we are here finally today to start our channels all over again for the year 2025 Q1. Go ahead, Ben.
Benny,
Introduce us the great
so
guest that we have here.
so here's what we've got. We've got two creators of some action-packed comics. Vaughn has a truly electrifying comic, and the dude deals with like lightning and everything, which is a great aesthetic anyway. I don't know if anybody breaks down and says don't tase me. We don't want those kind of spoilers, but he's got lightning abilities. I saw on number 2 that you can tell from the cover of that. Yeah, man. I saw that on the cover of number 2 that there's a girl with some fire powers. So you've got all kinds of elemental things. Now in John's comics, which I see some heavy manga influence, and we can talk to him about that. He said there's a lot of influences. We have some people that have tattoos that give them inordinate abilities like strength and what have you. One of the guys has Cerebus, the three-headed dog, on his chest. Have at it, Benny.
Yeah, no. So let's bat it off. Let me hit with John first on the first
Okay.
question.
It's
What
Inker. Is his comic. Inker.
Inker, right? So tell us about Inker. What is the comic about? What is your goal with the comic? You said before in the studio preset that it's something in a long time in the making. So tell us the journey. What's the story behind it?
Well, the story behind Inker is it's the first book of an epic fantasy saga series called Trials of Gods and Men. That's my handle on Instagram and Twitter also. But this is something that I've been working on, and much like Vaughn, my father was a big inspiration for my desire to be a writer. Because when I was young, like a little kid, he always talked about wanting to write horror stories because he loved Stephen King,
Oh wow.
and he never did pursue it because obviously, as you guys know, actually writing a book or any type of story is a lot of work because you need to learn a lot of stuff to do it well. And for whatever reason, when I was young, I fell in love with really big
stories with lots of plot lines. My first comic book series was the OG Infinity Gauntlet, and
Okay.
I fell in love with epic fantasy novels like Dragonlance, Forgotten Realms, like stories that took place over a trilogy or even multiple trilogies. So instead of practicing writing and writing short stories or a book, I started world building. And I've been doing that ever since I was about 15 years old, and I'm 46 now. So I've always really enjoyed a really well told story, and I knew that what I was producing over my life wasn't to the scale that I aimed for. So I never released anything, and I continued world building, learning how to tell a story. And then about a decade ago, I met a friend of mine who is connected with people in Hollywood and stuff like that. Like she has this art film studio here in town, and I just had this kind of dawning of like, you don't know how to actually tell a story. So I spent
Wow.
a decade studying that craft, like whether it's YouTube or hiring a writing coach. That was kind of a waste of time, honestly. But a decade of just focusing, Hero's Journey, all those books, and I finally was able to get a grasp of the world I created and the stories I wanted to tell and how they all wove together. And then I got reintroduced, I should say, to the comic book scene, especially the indie scene, which has so much great talent in it. Just like Vaughn's book, obviously, great success with the first one. Second one's out now, like 2 books in a year, basically, is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was a really recent inductee to manga. I seen Astro Boy and stuff like that when I was really little, but I was always much more like the American cartoons on Saturday morning versus stuff coming out of Japan. I was too young, or I'm too old. I missed like the Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that when it was really, really big. But now,
But you caught it in the '90s, though, didn't you? Didn't you catch the anime in the '90s when all that came out?
a little bit. When I was like the '90s was when I was in high school and graduating high school. It's like my most nostalgic years are like the Jordan Bulls dominating the NBA.
Wow.
But
Well, I mean, I was watching manga in the mornings, Sunday mornings. Manga, Dragon Ball Z was on Sunday mornings,
yeah,
like right
like I
before.
caught some Dragon Ball, but it was always on cable. Like it's not like it is today, where you can just go download the series.
Oh
and
wow, yeah,
watch
yeah,
it,
it was
right?
on cable.
You
Yeah,
would catch a thing here and there, but that was just the times of day. But
It was Sci-Fi Channel.
yeah,
for
it was
me.
never
It
consistent. You
was
never got episode
really
back to
brutally
episode, right?
violent,
exactly,
virtually pornographic kinds of manga that's not allowed any. The '90s was that way with comics too. But go ahead.
But so yeah,
We're
so then
talking about that. Okay, yeah.
I found manga, and the scope of their storytelling is exactly what I wanted to produce. So it kind of set a guide, like almost like a marker in the distance of like, okay, I guess I'm heading that way. And then I was kind of obsessed with trying to tell really dark, edgy stories. And so everything I was writing was really dark, like George R. R. Martin type of level of gore and graphic nature. And then I
Okay.
read Dirk, and I realized that Kentaro Miura had done it to perfection, and that I didn't need to pursue that type of story anymore. And now I'm much more locked in on kind of a teen audience, not as insofar as like the content is concerned. Adults, and I think everybody will enjoy the story I've crafted. But I gave up that needing to be full of shock and horror and whatnot. Like there's still a lot of gore, but it's not that same like going for a mature rating. You know what I mean? And then recently, like I guess the last 9 months or so, I discovered One Piece, which is just an endless bounty of entertainment, basically.
Oh my God, you're too late for that, man. I mean, now you discover One Piece. I
I
mean,
know I'm
come
at like
on.
episode
I knew
200.
he
late
was
to the
going to get
party, bro.
started. As soon as you said One Piece, I'm like, oh, here we go, Benny. That's his jam.
I mean, but like that's too late to the party, man. Like now you discover it. Where were you till today, brother?
I still haven't seen it.
Thing.
You haven't
I'm
seen
like a
One
Death
Piece? What do
Note
you mean, the
guy.
cartoon or the manga or the anime or which one?
I haven't seen. I don't know either.
Oh my gosh.
What One Piece? You're saying the anime?
Yeah, One Piece is a legend.
No, I know.
It's 1,000+ episodes. I mean, like it's like
Yeah.
the long. It it surpassed Bleach's run. I mean, Bleach was supposed to be number one in a sense, but now it's surpassed it completely.
And the books are at like 120 or something.
Even more,
It's-
even more.
Yeah,
There's so
right.
many.
I know this is off to the side, but I do think
Sure.
that the Jump Force game is cool, where they've got Goku.
Yeah,
against
Jump
these
Force,
people
they
and
include
all
everybody.
that.
Yeah,
Yu
the
Yu
Jump
Hakusho,
Force
they're
game is
all in
good.
it, and then you can fight all the other characters.
Right. No, but the Dragon Ball also
Yeah, the Shonen
the
Jump.
game is also good. The it's a very good game. I don't know if it's. I mean, I'm level like I'm the highest level there, but I don't know if they added anything there. But anyway,
But
yeah,
yeah.
like yeah. So Vaughn, talk to us. I mean, I see you in the same boat as John, just experiencing One Piece. Talk to us. Where's your comic? What's the story origin of that? Where does it come from? Basically the same question as John, but what's your experience behind it, and what's your goal with the comic?
So my comic right here is Phenomenova. So that's this was basically an idea I had ever since I was little, and then I'm glad it took as long as it did, because it was initially a movie idea and it kept going and going, and then my love for comics and superheroes grew. I think what made me decide to go all in on comics is I was at film school and I was doing budget costs, and there was a lot of reasons why I kind of decided to go with comics, but part of it was I had started reading Chris Claremont's X-Men run. And that really drove me to love comics, and the way you could just go idea after idea after idea, and I have all this energy and all these stories. And I was seeing a rise in independent comics, and I was kind of annoyed with a lot of pop culture and how I don't know, a lot of franchises were going, and how it felt like every time something was going in a way I liked, it was being jerked away by a creative or another creative or a studio. And I like the idea of owning my own stuff. And so that's, what this was birthed. It's basically my ultimate love letter to the superhero genre. It's the first issue. So it's a superhero story set 20 years after World War III. It follows the origin story of a new hero who's struck by lightning while holding a mysterious crystal. And he finds himself with lightning powers and super speed. And so he tries to strike out on his own, but ultimately he finds that's difficult. And so the second issue is going to pick up with him being trained by one of the veteran heroes who fought during World War III. And then we're going to continue on from there. Phenomenova is the name of the book, and it will be the name of the team that he's going to be joining. He's joining the next generation of heroes. But I wanted to start off with one character.
I want to know, is he in any way based on you, because you both have the same amazing hair?
Yeah, a little bit. I pulled from my life experiences a bit, but you have to divert the character away from you a bit. So I pulled from, a lot in here. But obviously, if he becomes too similar, you lose the escapism. So I kind of like, he's based on me a bit, but kind of goes in his own direction in some ways.
Did World War III ever conclude, or is it still kind of going on?
No, it concluded. The good guys won. And in my world, there was this massive attack on, total coincidence, came was years ago, but on this place in California, destroyed hundreds of miles of land, and that land has been reformed and is now a new county called Sanctum County. And there's Sanctum City, there's Gold Shore is where it's set. And basically, this is a new area, so it's got like Californian weather, but my own kind of world.
Very nice. By the way, prayers to those in California that they should, survive and overcome this tribulation that they have today. So my biggest question, when everybody does creative work, right? How do you not become redundant, especially in the powers, where we create powers for these superheroes? Like, lightning, is that redundant? Right? I'm sure in Vaughn's comic, it's not redundant. It's done in a different way. But how does a person create a different style of the superhero power, so to speak? I just feel like there's so many powers out there already, and they seem to be, even when we come with our comic Super Black, I had to really go crazy on, kind of create like a, something that's very out there, and I don't think anyone is similar to our superheroes' power. But how does anyone do that when you're starting to create a creative? I'm sure you guys had that question when you started, no?
Oh yeah, absolutely. For me, I remember when I was little, I don't know why it bothered me, the initial idea. So I like lightning. My favorite type of Pokemon is electricity. I liked all that kind of stuff. And for some reason, I don't know why, I was like, the Flash has this lightning bolt, and he just has super speed, no lightning powers. What if there was someone with lightning powers and super speed? And from there, it just evolved. And, you know, a lot of my characters, I had different things. I had a character who, all right, I don't want to spoil, but I have characters in issue 3. But I
Hey,
think about,
don't do spoiler report.
yeah, I won't.
You know,
I won't. I won't.
I apologize. He has a spoiler alert hat. We don't want you to do.
You
Well,
know,
I'm not
yeah.
spoiling anything.
He
That's
Yeah,
why I
can say
stopped
what he
it was a
wants to
myself.
joke.
say.
It was a joke. It was a
He can
joke.
say what he wants
We're
to say about
joking.
his comics.
Okay.
Were you a Pikachu guy? Is that what you're coming down and saying? Because you said you like the lightning Pokemon.
I mean, I love Pikachu. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right, go ahead, Vaughn. Finish your thought. I apologize.
No, it's all good. But you know, I would see. I honestly, it just comes from creativity, and I always say that, like, where I always think that it's like, if it's channeled through you and you can see things through a different way and interpret through a different way, it can be different enough. You know, there's
Gotcha.
one character that I wanted to have my version of Superman for my world, and then I'm like, okay, no, everyone has that. This is boring. This is really boring, actually. And so I was like, all right, well, what if I had him like an angelic knight in shining armor? And I just kind of had ideas. I was like, what if he gets his powers from armor? Blah, blah, blah. And you can kind of see him there. I decided,
Right.
like, there were multiple times where I was like, let's see, how can I put a spin on it? And I would keep spinning it and rotating it until finally it's something new.
But you didn't worry about that. Looks like a little bit like one of the what do you call it? The Justice League, the one with the wings.
Hawkman.
Hawkman, yeah. You didn't worry about that. That didn't affect your thinking.
Hey, you
or-
can argue anyone looks like anybody, man. You could argue
That's true, but I'm just saying in your process. I'm not. We're not denying
Oh,
what
yeah.
yours. The process. I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I use references I've used for a bunch of different characters. One of them was Hawkman.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there are similarities, absolutely, but Hawkman.
No,
But
that-
no, it doesn't bother me in the slightest. Because
No, I don't think you should. I don't think you
No,
should. You
yeah.
have a right to do whatever. You have a
Yeah.
right to create your story and your world, like John was saying, in that sense. So, John, what about you? What do you think? What in the regards to the ability to create characters that are original, more or less? I mean,
Okay.
that just because you look like someone else doesn't mean it's not original.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a
Of course.
storyline that's different,
Sure.
right?
I think if we're talking about Vaughn's character and then every other character that's ever used lightning is a primordial force that was worshipped by cultures throughout history of our own world. So
Right.
to do a different spin on it in a comic book or a novel or even a film, it just is what it is. The characters themselves will define them as different. If you have like if Vaughn's guy is like wielding a hammer and talks like a Viking, then that's kind of a Thor ripoff. But his guy kind of gives me like a vibe of like a young Spider-Man who's discovered his powers and he's in there just learning how to be a hero and a crime fighter. And then obviously like Vaughn's doing the superhero thing. Mine is epic fantasy, and I have a character design. He's down the road, but he also uses lightning as an offensive weapon. But what he does is he's like a divine channeler. So he basically calls to his god, and then the god allows him to use lightning, like as in like D&D, like lightning bolts or like call lightning. So he can literally call lightning down from the sky and blast someone's fortification or company, whatever it is. But it's not Thor-esque or anything. But then
No,
you look
for
at
sure.
Zeus, right? Zeus has
Right.
like literal lightning bolts.
The lightning bolt.
That he just
It
throws
sounds like
down
a
on
Final
people.
Fantasy move.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
it's also yeah, no doubt. But I mean, so it seems to be that people have to get the message that powers of any character can actually be expanded to different levels. I mean, one character can have lightning that's different than different lightning, right?
The uniqueness of it, right?
Yeah, right. Especially Vaughn's character. I'm sure what he said was something very smart, and he did it to the click. He says Flash has the speed, but he doesn't necessarily have that lightning till the after effect of his speed, right? I mean, anyone knows the Flash's power. He can use the lightning in the new CW powers, where they're after the fact. But what seems to be Vaughn's character is he has both powers simultaneously. Am I right or wrong? Yeah.
Yeah. They're
Yeah,
kinda,
that's the beauty of it. This is like how you apply it, and the same thing with you, John. What you're doing is using the epic, fantasy world in a different light, and how they're calling upon the powers. I mean, I'm just taking what I'm feeding off of your words and
Yeah,
everything.
right. Of course.
Yeah, and that's awesome. The fact that the fantasy and epic, epic comics are. I don't think they're really spoken about. Everything is the hero, but there's a lot behind the magical arena as well. No.
Yeah, for sure. Especially in manga. I mean, we have like there's some indie guys. Andy Smith is doing an epic fantasy with Dennis Turner.
Dennis Turner, yeah.
Kordrath, and he's got his second book coming out. Band of the Crow just came out from Arvid. That's spectacular. It was so cool.
Yeah, I haven't read
but
it yet.
then you look at One Piece. Sorry, Vaughn, I know you haven't watched it, but like One Piece is a pirate fantasy, right? The setting is a pirate world, and they go and sail around and have adventures. It's pure
Right,
fantasy.
but they also have powers. They have the powers
Well,
where they eat
most of them,
the fruits, right? The special fruits.
It's still devil fruit, I think is, but
Right,
it's
devil
still,
fruits,
it's
yes.
still pirate, like he said, just like Zelda the Wind Waker. They're out on the high seas.
And it's really
okay.
fun.
I guess it revolves the pirate world. Yeah. I mean, because if you watch enough of the manga, you see it's not. Although it's pirate, you know.
That's the glue.
But it's not necessarily every episode is about pirating. I mean,
of course not.
The majority are not even. The majority is not even about pirating. It's about treasure
hunting.
They're
barely pirates. You know,
right.
That's pirate stuff. Seas, right? Treasure hunting.
Well, treasure hunting necessarily is pirate stuff. I mean, Nicolas Cage played in a good non-treasure.
But the pirates that are hunting treasure, Benny.
Yeah,
just go with it.
I got you. Okay. All right. Anyway, so how do you guys go for production? Did you draw it yourself, or did you get someone to draw the stuff for you? What do you guys do? What's your process? I mean, we have our team. I mean, I'm sure you guys also have a team now to create these comics.
Yeah, well, I'll
either one, John. Yeah, go ahead, John.
Vaughn's talked about his book a bunch, so I'll go first.
Yeah.
I have a team of artists. I don't know if you know them, but Oliver and Domo Arc from out of 656 Comics, the scene crew. They're my colorist and letterer. And then the black and whites are a two-parter, because when I first started the inker, I reached out to Rich Ayala, who did Roach Balls and some other cool shit. And he was in, and he got the first 9 pages done. He did all of the concept design work. And then his life, just some personal things happened that changed his time frames. And he was upfront with me right away. He just said, you know, my eyes were bigger than my mouth, so to speak, and I'm not going to be able to do this. But he connected me with Oliver, who's really hard to get to color a book. And he's like a 25-year pro in the industry. And his company, 656 Comics, produces the Cryptidnals, which is a really, really cool book, really amazing art. And then, so Rich is the one guy who set everything up for me, and I'm really grateful to him. And then he put me in contact with Juanito, and he was part of the Wayzine book, and he's been doing commission work for quite some time, of more primarily like short stories, so maybe 8 to 12 pages of art. And my first inker is 72 pages, and Rich did the first 9, which is going to be the Ashcan, and then Juanito took over after that. And like, just Juanito's whole involvement in this project is hilarious, because he's down in Bolivia, and maybe 6 months ago, maybe not even, like 4 months ago or so, he hadn't gotten back to me about something, and then he replies like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I went missing. There was a coup in my country."
Wow,
and so I was kind of indisposed, and I'm just like, okay, that's cool. You had a coup, and then another time.
I mean, if you can't get a better excuse than a coup, I mean, I don't know what kind of excuse.
What do you say to that? Yeah.
Yeah, like, dude, there was a coup in my country, man.
I'm curious about John's, about like what the breakdown is. So I mean, you know, in Afro Samurai, they're trying to win the headband wars and get a headband. What are they fighting about? Is it just who did the best, or what are they fighting over? What's the conflict?
In Anchor, the conflict is based around Anchor's knowledge of the sacred tattoo art that he knows, because he can imbue magical properties into his ink, and it's a really secret knowledge. And there's all kinds of different magics and lore keepers, but his is very unique, and he's the last member of his like monkly order that knows this knowledge. And he has the enemy wants him to use that to empower them. And it's someone from his past, so obviously I don't want to spoil too much, but if you see behind me, that's the painting. Oh, part of my team, sorry. Skunk Artworks did this oil painting for me, and that's the cover of my book. And the on his back, you see like he's got covered in like dragon scales. And when Skunk put this out, everybody was going like Yakuza crazy, but it's not Yakuza. He's definitely gangster. And then on his beneath the scales, there's a face, and that's the face of a devil. And what he's part of the story and background is this order of monks were able to offer redemption to devils, and the devils would basically sit in a magic jar for 100 years, kind of like the legend of Sun Wukong in Journey to the West. But instead of coming out angry, they get they're rendered basically into ink, and then this demon or devil, not demon, devil is very specific, is inked into the flesh of the monk, and then the monk offers these devils an opportunity to redeem themselves by assisting the monks do good deeds, so to speak, because they're a generally good order. And
So
then
they channel their powers.
Well, the devil can act. So the devil's kind of in his head, kind of like a Venom vibe, where there's like a voice in his head, but he carries this devil with him, and if he's in really big trouble in a bad situation, he can actually call the devil out of him, and the devil will fight for him. And it appears as like your classic Japanese oni. So like we were talking about inspirations and influences. I'm a big history buff, and mythology and all that stuff. So I went through a big phase of my life where I really admired Japanese culture and samurai and ninja and all that stuff, and I studied it quite avidly. And the image and the shape of the Japanese oni is very unique because they've got like a big pot belly and they're oversized and they have big fangs. Like you've seen some of like those samurai masks that they have, and like the demon face. It's inspired by these oni, and basically it's his best friend, but his best friend is also a monster that likes to like eviscerate people when he's let out of the skin. And then the green is it's tattooed on him like scales, and that's a different type of ink that's fashioned from dragon scales. So then what happens is this dragon scales gets into his skin, and when he heals, it's as durable as dragon scale, but you're a person. So if you're a bad guy who's a warlord and you want to just go pillage, getting your whole body inked in dragon scale tattoos would be really useful.
Nice. Vaughn, talk to me. How's your production work?
So the tattoos, because that's so interesting. Because the tattoos are like demonic, then, or
some of them.
Not diabolical. Demonic would be demon. Diabolical would be devil. But it's like using something that's evil for a good cause, but at the same time, the devil goes into it willingly because they want redemption. Like there's a famous story in Buddhism about a demon. It's either a demon or a devil that wants to leave that path and pursue the path of the Buddha and find enlightenment. So he takes up that cause of trying to escape being a devil to become a saint, essentially.
Gotcha.
Wow, very cool idea. Vaughn, talk to us. How's your production? You said you're the writer, but
I'm the writer, publisher, which means I have to wear 50 different hats. Right. When I'm running, I spent my day today going through spreadsheets, business expenses, which means I'm also a YouTuber, which means I'm also the promoter, which means I'm the marketer, which itself is a full-time job which means overtime every day, basically, which is fine. And especially when you're marketing comics, you realize quickly, indie comics, so no one starts, unless you're already in the industry, no one starts with an audience, which means you have to build that, but yeah, I mean, I guess that's what I'm doing is I'm an editor too. The first work I ever did in comics, I edited a comic actually by your next guest, Chuck Dixon was the writer of this book, Hunter Ninja Bear. So that was my first work in comics, and I really liked it. And from there, I was like, yeah, I could keep doing this. So that's where I've been at.
That's cool.
Not bad, not
You're
bad. I
doing
always
you're doing
believed
well in
in.
your campaign too, man. That's
Oh yeah.
you're 80 some percent. You've got I think 150 some days to go. People need to get on board and support that.
Yeah, 180.
When it makes it, are you going to say that lightning struck twice?
Well, has it? I mean, I guess it struck a few times with me, a lot of times in my life.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a missed opportunity. Someone told me that, like, Vaughn, you got to call issue 2 lightning strikes twice, and I'm like, it is down to the core. But technically, I could call any second issue lightning strikes twice because the first issue was lightning strikes. I mean, it's not like he's not going to strike again. But I'm like, I guess I got to save it for when it's thematically appropriate for lightning strikes twice. I don't know. That's got to be a title I have to use at some point because I started with lightning strikes. I actually considered calling issue 1 lightning crashes because I love the live song so much, but stuck with
Lightning Crash is actually a pretty good. It's a good name. It's a
Yeah,
good title.
Ooh.
but I stuck with lightning strikes.
Well, I always believed in. I said this in 2015 when we started our company. I believed in collaborative social media, where
Oh, yeah.
where you work together to create a social presence bigger, and you kind of feeding off. And really, that's what the podcasting industry is doing. They're really feeding off each other to build their own bigger audiences, and just to
Yeah.
get themselves introduced to another
Oh
audience.
yeah,
I know that.
networking has been basically my main thing I've been doing when I'm not doing this. Is also networking. Getting subscribers is networking. So yeah, I have a small subscriber base, but I have a good network, a really good network. And the key is finding audience. And I'm learning every single day. I'm learning something. Like right now, this is networking, but it's also entertainment.
doubt.
It's all the above. And one of the things you're learning is you want to create an audience that's loyal to you. You want to bring in newcomers as well, but it's finding an audience that is yours. Getting shout outs and all is great, but you want people to come to you first often is what you want.
I don't think they need to come to you first. I mean, people
Well,
like when you watch movies, you're not watching one movie, right?
what I
So,
mean by that is,
okay.
okay, so you're watching a movie by a director, right?
No, I watch a movie for the story. I mean, depends who the person is, right?
Okay, but you're saying like Quentin Tarantino because you like.
Yeah,
Quentin
you're telling me
Tarantino
that Quentin
films.
Tarantino, you're telling me that if a movie came out and it was like, there's no director that you're a fan of that you're there to see their next thing?
No, no,
Steven
I don't care.
Spielberg.
Well,
I don't.
I think
I don't
that's
care about the directors. No
I think
offense to
people do.
directors.
I agree with Vaughn.
Yeah, I'm not
People
saying
do.
they don't. I'm not saying they don't, but you gotta understand most people don't know who the hell the director is. I'll be honest with you. The average person who's not in filmography doesn't care who the director
If you
is.
say Tim Burton, people will
okay.
line
Well,
up for it.
for
That's not
example,
the majority, guys. Honestly, I deal with majority people. Majority people, they don't look at who even sometimes the actor is. They just know, oh, that guy looks like that guy, and that's it. They're gonna watch the movie.
see, but
I mean, you got to think about it that way.
but all right, you say that stuff, but go to a convention and look at the lines for certain individuals. To
Amen.
Right,
say,
but the conventions. Okay, so let's backtrack for a second, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Understand my opinion a little bit when you're dealing with marketing. It's like politics, right? Politics, and I'm not getting into politics. I'm talking about the demographic of politics, where the average person doesn't even know who they're really voting for.
right.
So it means the average person is really not going to know who the director is or whatever.
That's
They're going to
apples and
know.
oranges, man. That is. We're not talking about though as a person. We're saying if you say Quentin Tarantino, if I said name Quentin Tarantino movies and we went around this
I
panel,
wouldn't be able
everybody
to
could
name you Quentin Tarantino,
everybody
except for
else.
one, Django, which is the only one that I like.
Okay, you're saying it wrong. It's Django. The D is silent. and it says that
Okay,
in
so
the
there you
movie.
go. You see my
Django
point. You prove my
Unchained.
point. I'm a
Pulp
guy
Fiction.
who's not. I'm a guy who's not looking for a movie because of the movie.
Inglorious Bastards.
I did not know. I did not. I watched it because Brad Pitt was in it.
Well, the overall point I was making though is that you want to have the people that come to you and then the others as well. So Quentin Tarantino already has people that are there because he's built his own name enough. That doesn't mean he's not marketing to everyone else, like you're saying. That's my point. My point is there are people in the seats for this thing, right? Like Sonic the Hedgehog 3, I just saw that movie, right? There are people that were there. Maybe it's their first time having exposure to the franchise. I went with a friend who had no idea what that was. But people like me are guaranteed in the seats. That's already some money in their pocket. They know right out the gate then you get the other people. So
Are you
it's
in the
finding-
seat because of it's Sonic the Hedgehog or because of
Yeah, no,
someone
really.
else who directed it?
That's that, but that wasn't my point. Is
No, I'm asking a simple point. Is it because of the Sonic or is it because of
I
something
prefer
else?
the
Both.
Shadow game
For
personally.
both,
but-
okay. I'm just asking. Listen, we want to clarify things. This is good for
Well,
marketing. We want to know how to.
I
You
know,
got to
but
dissect your marketing and know to
I
how
know,
to
but I
market.
was well, I was explaining the point is I was a fan of the franchise, but that way that person, the director has done it, has been good. But
Gotcha.
all right, regardless, the brand too, a brand gets tarnished when the generally the wrong creatives get a hold of it. It's the
Like
reason
Star
why,
Wars.
like Star
I,
Wars,
I
perfect
knew
example.
that was
No
coming up.
doubt.
Kathleen
Yeah, Star
Kennedy.
Wars was butchered.
Marvel. Like I'm a
Butchered.
huge Marvel. I'm a huge X-Men fan, but I
Destroyed Marvel.
started reading X-Men. I can't read it anymore because the current stuff, the current
Have you read
continuity.
Gail's stuff? Gail Simone stuff, Uncanny right now?
No, I stopped when they went to the Cold Island and started weird, all that weird stuff. I stopped.
But I mean, the movie and that
No,
stopped.
the
Talking
comic.
about
No,
comics.
the
Oh, the
comics.
comics. Okay.
You get Gail has some solid stuff going on right now. She's like about what I think she's done number 6.
Okay.
So yeah, but it's who is it? It's Rogue is the leader of her team.
Gotcha. All right. Well, maybe I'll check that out. But I just the Krakoa stuff really.
I know.
Well, listen, I guess it's also the storyline. So I think there's many components. I mean, well, look, I saw your comic. I love the covers. I mean, that already brought me into your comic. I'm gonna probably order one online. I mean, it's for sure.
Thank
I'm gonna
you.
buy. I'm not probably. I'm gonna order it.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
no
two
doubt.
ways to go about it. You can get it right away on my website, or if you'd rather have them shipped together, you could back the catch-up tier on the issue 2 campaign. Whatever works.
Okay, I'll do that. Just send me the link. I have the link to the campaign.
Do you? Let's
The
see.
Rebel Oasis.
No, that's not to the campaign.
Oh yeah.
That's to the website. The
Rebel
campaign-
Oasis, but it shows the campaign here.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah,
could do.
if you,
You can't
if
do
you
it though.
click on the number 2 issue thing that you got on your menu bar, it takes you to the campaign.
But
That's
there
how
are
I found it.
limited functions on if you do it that way. Like, so you could also go to Coming Soon and find the FundMyComic that way. That's actually
Okay.
probably better.
Okay, I'll do that. Send me the link. Ben, send me the link for that. So I'm gonna purchase one. I'm gonna support
Okay.
a little bit.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'll
Yeah, no
shoot it
doubt.
to your phone so it won't.
Yeah.
Like
No, I mean, you are in agreement. I had a similar conversation with a friend. Like, I totally get it. It's like you wanted something that's fresh and new. But, Phenomenova ultimately, at that point, it's a new brand. So right now where I'm at, I would love for my brand, for this to one day be more known than me. Right now, more people know my name than know my book, because it's just, if you're seeing it, it's probably because I'm showing it to you, I'd love it for it to be to the point where people are finding it out through people who aren't me. I would love that. But
Just need time.
That's good. John, when is yours coming out? When is your ETA on your product?
The art should be done at the end of February, perhaps early March. And I'm going to be launching the official campaign on FundMyComic in May, possibly May 5th, because I think it'd be fun to do it on Cinco de Mayo, given that part of my team is from Mexico. But I do have a pre-order campaign open currently, and I basically just stole Eric July's initial idea of just doing it through PayPal. And it's $100, but that'll include the 72-page hardcover Legends Edition inker, print of the painting behind me, membership into the Trials of Gods and Men Legends Club, or TOGAM Legends Club, and that'll give access to my Patreon when I get that opened up, as well as discounts on future projects, and VIP fulfillment, meaning you'll be getting the book in your hand while the FundMyComic campaign is up and running.
Not bad. That's a good one.
And it's
That's a very
the
good one.
first book, and for the people that come in now, when like the book isn't ready, it's been more successful locally than online, just because I'm an unknown, and then the people around in my city that know me, they're very supportive. But I really want to thank those people, and if that effectively what's going to happen is because of the membership that gets you the discounts. If you're buying the products, you're gonna save the $100 over probably 3 campaigns or something like that. And what I love about FundMyComic is that it operates as a storefront.
Yeah.
And I'm really tempted to not even bother with Kickstarter and Indiegogo just because of the drama
Bother.
that they've caused for so many independent creators who just happen to be speaking a message that they don't like. Like if that's not totalitarianism, I don't really know what is, but they're always
Yeah.
crying about that, right?
Explain more about that. I'm not understanding what's the story
Oh,
behind
so
it.
what
I know about
happens
it.
is there's this thing called shadow banning where the people involved in the company are typically young left perspective people, and they'll find someone like Mike Barron who
Oh, yeah.
has a particular style of writing, and they're like, we're going to silence him so that you can't search up his IP that he's
Oh.
trying
You would
to
have
sell.
to know the link to go to.
Exactly
You couldn't
right.
find him
You can't
otherwise.
just find it.
They'll
So
take
that's
up.
shit.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. But so I'm in Canada, but when I was a kid, I grew up like with Sunday or Saturday morning cartoons out of the States. So like the whole Hulkamania 80s and like the concept of freedom of speech and all these things were really embedded in my soul. And I've always held that as something of significant value and like the kind of the experiment that is America, which is like, it's the trickiest place right now. It's just been around for 250 odd years. And when you've been around that long, change is inevitable and you don't know which way it's going to go. But what it was, the idea that America was born from was to fight tyranny, being specifically the British, right? And that just really speaks to my soul. I'm that 1% of people that just don't like authority. And in the school system, I was always the one who was outside of the marching order. I was just always kind of not a troublemaker, but just I didn't fit in because I just don't recognize that authority. I'm just very much like I live in my own head. Half the time I'm doing the dishes or whatever I'm working on, I'm actually in my story world, working out
Gotcha.
details. So I'm not like someone will
So
talk to me.
you're not for Canada being the 51st state,
Oh
right?
no, let's go, baby.
Yeah, you're right.
No, I get, dude, man. So I go wild, like the way people drive on the interstate. And I said, if it wasn't for stupid people, you would just have signs that said, "Thank you for being courteous." Because it's just common sense. You let people in and you follow and all that. But there's people that have to be beat upside the head for that. So guidelines are fine. But when you're being beat with rules because there's people that don't have enough sense, you're
Right.
not allowed to chew gum here because somebody's an idiot and they stick it under a seat.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So so they wreck it.
By the way, how would Canada become the 51st state? Would that have to go through Parliament?
My hope, or what I think long term Trump is trying to do, and I'm just repeating what other smarter people have said that
Right.
is what I think is going to happen is it's not so much Canada is going to become the 51st state or however it would break down, but I think there would be an economic zone over North America where we would have a single currency. And it would be
I think I think that's what he's trying to do. Very smart point. I did not think about that.
Because in Canada, like I got this book right here, and the U.S. where is it? The U.S. price. Well, it doesn't matter. The U.S. price is always cheaper, and then the Canadian price is higher.
Is higher?
We have a lower,
Yeah,
of course, because we have a lower population. We're like 1/10 of your population, maybe a little bit more than maybe 11%, but everything is higher. There was a point maybe like 8 years ago where our dollars were actually on par, but everything in Canada still cost more. So
wow, that's crazy.
And like literally 95% of the population lives within 150 miles of the U.S. border. So like even if there was still a customs and you need, or not customs, but like a border that you had to kind of pass through for safety or whatever you want to call it.
So it'll be like the Euro kind of thing. It'll be like a Euro system, European Union system.
And then you don't have tariffs, you don't have anything, and it would be simple. And I think with Trump is honestly not to go full political here, but I just think he's going 51st state, ha ha ha, with a long-term goal of
right. Well, listen, this is very important anyway for everyone to hear because this is economics, right? This will, whatever changes economically, changes people's business structure, like literally immediately.
Certainly would make it easier to ship to Canada. I'll tell you that.
Yes, hell yeah. Yes.
I had a Canadian question here. So you are fluent in French, right?
No.
Okay, no, right. Because the French-Belgium market is huge with comics, and I was like,
yes, it is.
Man, you could like rock that.
Very big. Yes.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. Like I work with these Italian artists, and it's not big in Italy, but it is over in like France. So that's
Gotcha.
a huge thing. Comics in French, that's an area where it rocks. A manga rocks in Japan. There's certain pockets. But yeah, the French Belgium thing has always been huge. Of course, you always think of Tintin because he's like the most iconic character from that market.
That's part of the reason why I mean, I just love fantasy, but it's very universal. Like people around the world love fantasy. Like George R. R. Martin's successful everywhere.
Right. Well, yeah. Right now, the Dungeons and Dragons concepts are being played into many, I guess, TV shows are mentioning it. It's being mentioned a lot now. So you see that there is a huge following of fantasy type of game playing, and less video games, more actual interaction with people face to face, which is like what Dungeons and Dragons does, right? And and I think that's comics in itself I need to come back into the flow of kids and young people's, because they need to open their imaginations, learn how to imagine it. Yeah,
too many gates stopping kids. I mean, even with me, like, so I'm putting it on website. I'm doing it everything I can, and fact of the matter is, most kids are not going to know about my stuff for a while. But like, I had my personal trainer like gave it to his daughter, and she loved it. So I know that if it's in the right hands,
right.
But it's getting it there is most of the work. It really.
So you're doing the old school giveaway, the old school.
No,
not giveaway, but you know what I mean. Promo. It's old school promo, right? In a new school time, what basically means we're in a social media time, but yet comics need to be given by word of mouth to get your stuff out there.
It needs to be given by any and all means, and it's not just word of mouth. Sales wherever I can get it and sell it.
No doubt.
And that's why I think the digital is key too, because printing costs are up, shipping costs are up. You know what's great about the digital? Yeah, I make less per thing, but I realized, and I was also like, well, what about piracy? It's gonna get pirated anyway.
Yep.
If people want it, they'll get it.
Now, if it's any good, it'll be pirated. My music has been pirated. I mean, it's if it's worth taking, then it's worth something.
The fact of the matter is, people, you'll be able to get it, and I want my stuff out there, and that's just the truth,
No doubt. Even if it gets out there, they'll come buy it. Say it again, John. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's like going all in and to promote yourself is the only way to do it. If you're not the one who's most excited about promoting your content won't be promoted, and you just gotta. And it's hard. Like for me, like I have like chronic anxiety, but I'll get anxious about doing something where I'm like doing an Instagram post where I'm talking, so I don't want to do it. But then I get anxiety for not doing it because I know I should be doing it. So it's just a double-edged sword. So I might as well bite the bullet and just promote the hell out of my stuff because no one's as excited about my world as I am.
No doubt. Anyone want to say anything? I'm sorry for cutting you off, John. Anyone want to say anything else? We just got a few more minutes left.
I wondered if either of them did cons.
I did.
Have either of y'all did Comic Cons or anything?
Yes. I've done. I'm planning on doing a few this year. Now that I'm actually able to table, because before I've been going as a fan and networking. Now I actually have business reason. Well, I mean, technically networking is business, right? But now I can actually set up and table. So I'm going to be hitting, especially if New Jersey shows, I'll be tabling at least 2 this month, at least 4 this year, hopefully more. I'm going to be tabling at as many shows as I can.
Very smart. Agreed. You guys have to do that. No doubt. All right, guys. So I'm going to call it off. Appreciate everybody for coming. Please come again. I know it seemed very quick, but we got to do this again. Keep on promoting. We're here to promote your stuff. We're here to make you guys help you succeed. So everybody, if you can get into John's QR code here for his YouTube channel, and over here you have a QR code for his Instagram. Also, you'll see the links below in the YouTube channel as well when we get to it. At the same time, you have Vaughn's YouTube channel. Please do not forget to subscribe. And then you have his website, Rebel Oasis Studios, I believe. Yeah. So please, everybody, join as well and sign up. In addition, don't forget Ben, our co-host. If you need anything or if you want to schedule a podcast with us, just text Ben. He's in charge of Aisha Comics. So Aisha Comics shows are always Thursday night, about 6:30 p.m. at that time, every Thursday night. So join us. And I'm glad that, thank you. We had 12 people live today. That's
Awesome.
just the beginning. We're starting. We do have hundreds of thousands of subscribers totally throughout all our social
Oh
medias.
wow!
Yeah, so we appreciate everybody for coming, and hopefully we're going to build our audience as well on the live section, not just the subscription section.
Next week we have Chuck Dixon and Matt Barr coming on. Super
Awesome.
excited about that. I've already got the week after lined up with the guest. All kinds of good stuff is going to be coming this way.
Awesome. So Ben, if you want to reschedule with John and Vaughn as well,
Awesome.
we can do it if they're in their availabilities. I appreciate everybody for coming on Aisha Comics. Hopefully with more excitement. I mean, I'm a little bit fatigued from all the the viruses that are hitting New York. But everybody, may God bless. I appreciate everybody, and I appreciate. I hope much success for John and for Vaughn and their projects, and they should only succeed. And we're always here to support our friends. Thank you, everybody. Bye, 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 bye.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.